So yes, good morning everyone. I'm Hugo Ortiz from RTBF. I'm an innovation officer and, oh perfect. And I'm going to talk today about live production and the universal control room. First of all, why? Why are we doing this? Why are we in this situation? As you said, we are building a new facility. It will be in fact our new headquarters. And this new building will be called Media Square. So, who are we? We are RTBF, the French-speaking public broadcaster for Belgium. Today we are sharing our main production facility and center with VRT, as you said. This will not be the case in a few years because we are building a brand new building, as I said. So it's a middle-sized broadcaster, really. A specificity of us is that we are doing today radio, digital, and TV production in the same structure. We used to be a very separated organization with TV, radio, and later on digital directions. Today, we are an integrated company. We made a big transformation a few years ago. This is what our organization looks like today. So this is really centered around our audience, and we build each layer around our audiences. And so what we really want to do with this new building, which is a huge opportunity for us, is to materialize this new organization into all the technologies and infrastructures. So we don't want to build radio production technologies, system, TV production technologies and system, and digital system. We want to come up with something that can integrate all of that and maybe future stuff that we don't even have already think of. So, the project around which we are gonna deploy all those universal control rooms, it's Media Square. It will be just here in the parking lot of this actual building. It's a complete greenfield deployment, so we won't move anything. We will construct everything and buy new equipment. It's about 10 production studios. Whoop.
Did we break it?
Maybe.
Oh no.
Yeah, so basically a building with about 10 production studios. This won't be TV studios and radio studios. We want them to be able to adapt to each situations. And for the control rooms, it's the same. We don't want to build dedicated control rooms, so the big whoop. Ah, perfect. The big point of universal control room is to be able to do TV, radio, or digital production in them. It doesn't mean that everyone will work in the same way. It doesn't mean we will do TV and radio the same way. It means that a single control room can adapt to a lot of way of doing things. And this is for 2024, a first on-air studio in 2024, so the clock is ticking. We really need to go fast on that one. This approach of doing control rooms comes from a POC we've been doing for a few years. You may have heard about it. It's called Control Room 42. Control Room 42 is the prototype. It's a working prototype. We are doing testing with users in it. You will see this prototype in a few minutes. And really, it's really about reinventing the user interaction with technology in those control rooms. So today we have control rooms that are really based on tools. Usually we have tool, function, and the user. We really want to reinvent that, and we want to be able to say, oh, this show, we think we need a certain amount of person to do it. This person will do that, that, and that, and this other person will do this and that. And we don't want the technology to be a showstopper for that. So the goal of the Universal Control Room is to put all the functions that are necessary to produce a show into a common set of interfaces, user interfaces, that we can design and move however we want to provide those functions. And those interfaces will be different for different shows and different for different ways of working. Yes, so from a prototype to complete production building, there is a gap, a small gap, and we plan to move forward by developing this concept further with a partner. We've launched, in fact, this summer a big public tender to find this partner, and we will be able to announce who this partner will be in a few months. I can maybe even say weeks, start of 2022. And so this prototype and this concept will become a product that hopefully anyone will be able to buy, that will enable the deployment of those universal control rooms. So that's for the theory. Let's have a small look on technologically what it means. So if I take a traditional control rooms, we can show it like that. So different world. Let's say we have video, audio, and lighting. We have different users. We have different infrastructure and different tools. It's very separated. Goal is to integrate those technologies. Then it's a very TV-centric way of seeing things, but I think it's quite explanatory. Then today what we do a lot of time is add automation on top of that. And so we have a little automation layer that take control of those tools and those infrastructure, and we can move what the user are doing a bit. So that's an improvement. What we want to achieve with the Universal Control Room is completely create a division here. So the users don't interact anymore with the tools that are fixed in how you want to and how you have to use them. And so we create this separation between what the users see, the production controller and those user interfaces, and the native tools behind. If we zoom on this last schematic, it looks like that. All the user interfaces, a web page is a user interface. A physical generic panel is a hardware interface. Multi-view screens or touch screens, of course, are just user interfaces. This told to this central part that we've called the production controller. This is where automation and all the control happens. And then we have the tools and infrastructure. We haven't yet chosen any tools for the next building. This is in progress, but you have a few examples there of what we use in the POC. One of the big focus, of course, is to go to softwares as much as possible. And talking about softwares, a bit of tech stuff. I hope it's not too small to read from where you are, but basically the ambition is to go full IP, and if we can achieve it, full software for the next building. It means we want to have as much tool as we can as standard services or softwares on IT servers in place of dedicated broadcast tools and various IP transport technologies for various needs on a common share networks. So that's for the more technical part. So thank you very much. This is a first introduction of what we are trying to achieve and how we plan to do it. I'll take maybe a few questions, and then what we can do is go to the RTBF side of the building and see what the prototype looks like.
Right. Thank you, Hugo, for your presentation. Are there any questions from the audience for Hugo?
Yes.
I'm Sasha from Wiley, Finland. Yes. Thank you. I'm Sasha from Wiley, Helsinki, Finland. I was just about to ask, are there also going to be radio productions in the same galleries?
Sorry?
Radio productions
Yes.
in these same,
Yes.
I mean real radio productions.
Yes.
Because in Wiley they are from completely different budget, and all the production planning happens elsewhere. So it's from my perspective, it seems quite difficult to combine these two different worlds.
We've done it.
Not only technique-wise, but
yeah, from the organization point, we've done it 2 or 3 years ago. So we have one production service, and they manage radio production, TV production, today with very different tools, but it's the same. Of course, the technicians remain specialized, most of them, but we are trying to see bridges appearing from different production cultures. We've called that production cultures. That's basically what we plan to do. But we plan to unite the tools and enable each studio and each control room to do TV or radio or digital productions.
Thank you. Maybe I have a question for you, Hugo. Yes. What is the biggest difficulty in trying to scale the Control Room 42 prototype to the more generalized universal control room?
Big infrastructure questions. Mm-hmm. Today, the small POC is still based on a lot of SDI and traditional media technologies. Today, it will be a big full IP infrastructure. We don't really know how that behaves because it's still quite new. And we can't really test the scale. You can always test principles and ideas on a small scale, but testing a big scale, basically you need to do it. We can't really test how a system will behave with 10,000 of production feeds on a network. So yeah, scaling is a big question.
All right. Any more?
The biggest, probably the biggest point where we really need this partner to help us scale to a whole building envergure. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions from our audience? Not yet. What is the biggest need this universal control room solves at RTBF?
It solves the fact that we can't increase our resources because they are basically fixed. But we need today to produce more, to target more different audiences, to target more platforms.
Yeah.
So we need to dramatically improve the efficiency of our production and of the way we do things. So basically we need to do so much more stuff with the same or less resources that we need. I think we need big technology enablers that allow us to do that, while still being a very premium content producer.
Yeah. They need to do everything in
Yeah.
a sense. Okay, thank you for being here, Hugo.